This video is for anyone who has a chronic or autoimmune condition and that also feels that they're a people pleaser, or that they have some form of trauma or unprocessed emotional experience from their childhood that may be driving their condition. Firstly, I want to tell you that you're absolutely right, it can do that. So in this video, what I'm going to break down is exactly why your subconscious mind and your nervous system is keeping you sick. So there's a few concepts we need to break down. The first one is your subconscious mind. What are we talking about? We don't want to get too deep with it, but there is a big difference between your conscious mind, which is about 10% of running the show, and your subconscious mind, which is the other 90%. Now, the big question is, how does the subconscious mind learn that it needs to be a people pleaser? Why does it then program the nervous system to react in a way that pleases people? So let's have a look. And by the way, your nervous system is the only place that you've ever lived. Okay, so everything that you've ever experienced in life, you've only experienced through your nervous system. Remember, your eyes are sending electrical signals to your brain, your touch and your sense of smell and your sense of taste, it's all sending electrical signals via the nervous system to your brain. So you've only ever lived in your nervous system. However, that information is going to your subconscious mind, and then the relevant pieces are being passed to your conscious mind. So your subconscious mind, which can be this section here, is 90% of what's going on. You are reacting automatically to the world around you, which is why if you do have stored emotions and perceptions, they will be stored in that subconscious mind, and you'll be on autopilot. That runs the show, and it's only 10% of our decision making that happens in the conscious mind. So 90% subconscious, and then just 10% your conscious mind, this bit at the top. Now, where does this subconscious mind come from? Why has it been programmed in a specific way? And we're going to use the word self-image here, which is this subconscious image that we have of ourselves that we must always act in accordance with. Now, if that self-image is ever at risk, like if something happens to us that violates or challenges that perception of self-image, that is when we can have a response to it. So in that subconscious mind, that's where the self-image lives. And your self-image is made up of all of the emotions that you've ever experienced. They've all been run through that subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind, the language of that is emotion and experience. So your self-image is a sum total of all the emotions you've experienced. However, during the first few years of life in your childhood, that is where the self-image is calibrated. And it doesn't have to be repeated exposure to a traumatic experience or some of the experiences that I'm going to go through. It can be just one or two exposures to a negative or self-image challenging experience. And that, if it is relived in your mind again and again and again, and we ruminate on it, and we replay it, and we re-experience those emotions, that is how the subconscious mind becomes programmed. That is how you get your self-image, through these relived experiences or continuous exposure to the same experience. So if somebody's self-image is heavily invested in people-pleasing, safety, validation, attachment, and if what it uses to achieve these goals, which is the goal of the self-image in the subconscious mind, is to make sure it's always safe, is getting validation, and it has the correct attachments to the people that provide love. What do we mean by people-pleasing? Well, in some of my other videos, we've gone through the autonomic nervous system, which is your parasympathetic and your sympathetic. So let's quickly cover that now. We have two modes that this nervous system can run in. It has rest and digest, which, as you can probably tell, is the mode that we'd like to be running in the majority of the time. And then it has fight, flight, freeze, or the important one in this case is fawn. That behavior, the fawning behavior, the removal of self-prioritization, the prioritization of everyone else's needs, as long as they're okay, I'm going to be okay, inability to say no, all of those things come from the autonomic nervous system's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn behaviors. Now, if you have been programmed into that mode and your self-image is dependent on you being in this fawn mode, which is people-pleasing, requiring validation from everyone else so that you can feel okay, you have connected your nervous system to what everyone else thinks of you, and therefore your nervous system is also connected to your immune system, hence why people with chronic stress caused by either fight, flight, freeze, or fawn behaviors, they're the ones with the autoimmune conditions, they're the ones with the chronic conditions that cannot be improved by the diet or the herbs or the detox work. It's because the immune system is governed by the nervous system. So unless we get this bit right, which includes your subconscious mind, your self-image, those previous experiences, unless we sort those out, those conditions that you're battling will never improve. That's why the nervous system probably makes up about 80% of people's improvement. And when we are in rest and digest, your digestive function is normal. You're producing the correct amount of stomach acid, which in a video I did recently, we spoke about how important the stomach acid is for preventing dysbiosis, for making sure food is digested and absorbed properly, for reducing the amount of inflammation in the gut lining, therefore dictating nutrient absorption. It's really important. So rest and digest, that's when all that's working properly. In fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, that is when you're deprioritizing those long-term energy-using systems within the body. Your heart rate increases, your pupils dilate, your bladder contracts to get rid, your digestive tract gets rid of whatever's in there in a flight or fight response. Your stomach acid production slows down, your liver function drops by 20%, the kidney function drops by 20%. The body says, hey, I've got something I need to deal with right now, so all power to the heart, lungs, and muscle tissue because I need to get out of this situation, or I need to prioritize everybody else's needs but my own. Hence, difficulty setting boundaries, prioritization of other people's needs so that I continue to receive the safety, validation, and the attachment that I require and that my self-image requires. So here are some programs that your subconscious mind is running as a way to make sure it receives the safety, validation, and the attachment it needs. So the first one, and this is very common, is conditional love and approval. It means if you do this, or if you tidy up and you do the washing and you do this and you do that, then you are worthy of love, appreciation, attachment, and safety. All right, it's conditional. If this, then that. If you do this thing, then I will bestow that love on you. The opposite to this, the antithesis, is unconditional love, which is no matter what you do, you will always be deserving of love from me as your caregiver. All right, there's a big difference there. And just think back to your childhood now. Did you receive conditional love or unconditional love? So as we're going through some of these, just have a think back if you want to. Remember to do the breathing as you go through this. If you do become anxious, some nice deep breaths. This is a safe space. I'm here to guide you through this. So conditional love. Were you given and were you shown that no matter what, you are worthy of safety, validation, and you do have that loving attachment to your caregiver or parent? The next one is your parental or caregiver emotional instability or insecurity. This one's very common, the parental or caregiver instability or immaturity. This is where we have narcissistic parents. If they're unpredictable or if they're emotionally unavailable, you as a child will have been forced into a position where you need to manage their emotions for them. Okay, so number 2, parental instability or emotional immaturity. That's where your self-image, so who you are as an adult now, has been programmed based on who you needed to be back then to get the safety, validation, and attachment. The next one is just straight up trauma and fear that was formed in early childhood, which is things like abuse and strict punishment. And this abuse and strict punishment, your self-image will have learnt that it's not okay to demonstrate that you have needs as well. So now as an adult, your self-image is connected to, if you do demonstrate that you have needs, that you will lose safety, validation, and the attachment of love. So abuse and strict punishment programmed your self-image to say you must resist having the requirement for safety, validation, and attachment. You can see that one can be very damaging. The fourth one here that can happen is just straight up dismissal of emotions. And this can happen for many different reasons. Number one is there is no parenting handbook, and so your parents may not have learnt that it is important to validate emotions where necessary. So let's write that one down. So that dismissal of emotions just means that your self-image has been programmed that your needs aren't important. And so you've gone into adult life with this subconscious self-image running the show, saying, my needs are not important. And then some more detailed ones here. So number 5, we've got kind of a role reversal where the child needs to be the adult in the situation. So that one's called role reversal. Sometimes it will be called parentification. And this is where you were forced to take on the role of the parent and not learn to manage your own requirements for safety, validation, and attachment. You were just shoved straight into the adult role, which is providing for other people. You never got to experience what it's like to have your needs validated as a child. And so being an adult too soon can also keep you stuck in that mode. And for a lot of people who have aging parents and have children of their own, they say yes to everything. They're people pleasers. They're prioritizing both above and below. They're the sandwich generation. The role reversal and the parentification is very, very strong in that group of people. And then number 6 on this list is the fear of rejection or abandonment. And this is very simply the deep fear that if you do set boundaries for yourself, that you will be rejected or abandoned. So if you draw a line and you say this is okay and that's not okay, then that will lead to rejection or abandonment. This is a very, very powerful, insidious and dangerous and often hidden one that we use to govern our safety, validation and attachment. so that I can keep feeling safe and validated and attached to the love that I'm receiving, I will not draw a line in the sand. I will have no boundaries at all. I will say yes to everything, whatever's required to prevent that fear, to prevent that rejection and abandonment sensation. So this need to keep people happy has been programmed into your subconscious through probably one of these 6 childhood experiences. And if we don't process safely those emotions, the nervous system and your subconscious mind, because of your self-image, will keep you in that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, therefore down-regulating your immune system and keeping your inflammation high. So what do we do about this? How are we going to get on top of this? Well, the first thing is use this video to give yourself permission to say it's okay. Yes, you're not broken. You are dealing with something. When you go to the doctor and say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, your bloods have all come back fine, everything's good. Well, have you considered that it may be in the subconscious mind, in the self-image, and how you carry yourself and the decisions you make and the fact that you do say yes to everything and everyone? Do you think that might be having an impact on your condition? I think so. Remember, the subconscious mind and the nervous system dictates what's happening with your digestive tract, with your immune system. It sits above all of those other bodily functions that are trying to keep you healthy. So unless we get this bit right, you can change the diet, you can do the detox work, you can do the microbiome work that we talk about, but this is really the main event. This is 80% of what we're doing here. So the key takeaway here is that yes, the body does keep the score. It's a great book, and also Walking the Tiger by Peter Levine. It's a really good one for understanding trauma. If you don't reprocess these experiences in a safe environment and remove the emotional charge whilst keeping the lesson and the memory, you will have these things wired into your subconscious. So how do we undo that? Well, remember, which language does the subconscious mind speak? It speaks emotions, it speaks experiences. So one of the ways that your subconscious mind gets information from the outside world is via the eyes and our 5 senses. But then all of that is turned into a emotion via the allocation of meaning. So your mind gives it a meaning, so it knows where to store it and how to weight it in terms of priority when it's storing it as a memory. Now this really becomes a problem for a main reason, and that is the reticular activating system in the brain. And this is a really key area I just want to touch on. The reticular activating system says that whatever my mind is looking for, it will see. It's almost like confirmation bias or synchronicity. If I've learnt that when I look at a certain type of person, or my boss as the person who is responsible for safety validation, if I'm getting that from my boss, then I need to keep these roles going. All right, so if I'm looking for something out there in the world, I'm going to spot it. So how the reticular activating system works is if I say to you, find something green on the screen right now, you can say, oh, okay, there's one there. All right, if I say, was there anything black on the screen? You might not be able to spot it immediately. But yeah, obviously the frame is black. My point is, if you're looking for something, you're much more likely to find it. That's the reticular activating system at work. Your reticular activating system is using your self-image, so those emotional programs from your past, in order to predict the future and respond to the present. So unless we reprogram that self-image and that you are worthy of unconditional love and safety and validation, and you don't need to say yes to everything in order to get the love that you need, we need to teach it that emotionally first. Because from this video, I've only just given you information. You need to experience this in a safe way, that you are worthy of love, you are worthy of safety and validation. And one of the most powerful tools to do that, obviously we've got the removal aspect, which is processing those emotions in a safe environment, EMDR, talk therapy, hypnosis, those kinds of interventions. But then also we have self-image work, which is building this healthy self-image, and you can do both in tandem. So what would that one look like? Because that one's not technically therapy, that's just rebuilding a healthy self-image that is not dependent on other people giving you the safety, validation, and attachment. So that, in my opinion, is the best way to go through this process, is building a new healthy self-image, but also re-experiencing the past in a safe way so that you can take the emotion, but keep the memory. Also, we have this psoas muscle, which is that large muscle group that connects the bottom of the spine to the upper part of the legs, the sole muscle. And that one is the one that gets really tight in that fight, flight, or freeze response. And so, yes, deep leg exercises and lunges and yoga and things like that can help work that mechanical tension that's been stored in the body as a way to release that whilst you're doing this work as well. I hope this has been useful. I appreciate it's pretty in-depth, but unless we get ourselves right and we're happy living in the body that we've got, how could we possibly expect our bodies to heal ourselves and look after us if it's still reacting to emotions and memories that are stored in the past and we're reliving that each day?